Lily had been a waitress at the Bella Bistro for the past 3 years. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but she loved it. The staff was like family. The customers were mostly regulars, and she took pride in serving up delicious food with a smile. The restaurant was located in the heart of the city, and while it wasn't a Michelin-starred establishment, it had a loyal following of people who appreciated its cozy atmosphere and warm service. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon, Lily was working the lunch shift when an unfamiliar figure walked in, his expensive suit and air of arrogance immediately making him stand out. He didn't look like a typical lunch rush customer. He walked up to the host's stand, a slight frown on his face, clearly irritated by something. The host, Jenny, greeted him with her usual warmth. "Good afternoon, sir. How can I help you?" she asked. "I need a table, and I need it now," the man snapped, his voice cold. "I'm in a hurry." Jenny glanced at the seating chart. "I'm sorry, sir, but we're a bit busy right now. If you'd like, I can offer you a seat at the bar, or we can get you a table as soon as one opens up." The man's eyes narrowed. "I don't care about the bar. I want a table, and I want it now. I don't have time to wait for your little establishment to accommodate me." Lily, who had been carrying a tray of drinks to another table, overheard the exchange. She watched as Jenny looked apologetic, unsure of how to handle the rude customer. Lily had seen her deal with difficult patrons before, but there was something about this man's attitude that rubbed her the wrong way. She made her way over to the table, her polite smile firmly in place. "Hi there, sir. I'm Lily, and I'll be your server today. We're running a little behind, but I'll do my best to get you seated as soon as possible." The man barely acknowledged her, still glaring at Jenny. "You don't seem to understand," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "I don't have time to be waiting around in some low-end restaurant. I'm the CEO of Bluestone Enterprises, and I demand the best treatment." Lily's smile didn't waver, but inside, she felt a flicker of annoyance. She had dealt with entitled customers before, but something about his tone felt especially dismissive. She glanced over at Jenny, who was still standing awkwardly by the host's stand. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience, sir," Lily said, trying to remain professional. "Let me check with the manager to see what we can do for you." But before she could turn away, the man spoke again, his voice louder this time. I don't want to wait for some manager," he barked. "I want to be treated with respect. You don't get to run a restaurant without knowing how to accommodate people who matter." Lily's patience was wearing thin. She could feel the weight of the situation, but she refused to let him get to her. She was a professional, and she wasn't going to let some entitled CEO ruin her day. "Sir, I'm doing my best to accommodate you," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But there are certain things that are out of my control. Now, would you like to sit at the bar while we get a table ready, or would you prefer to wait for the next available seat?" The man scoffed, clearly offended by her response. "Fine, I'll wait. But you better make sure it's worth my time." Lily walked away without saying another word, taking a deep breath as she reached the kitchen. She could feel her heart racing from the confrontation. It wasn't unusual for customers to be demanding, but something about this man's arrogance felt different. She knew this wasn't going to be the last time she would see him. A few hours later, the lunch rush had slowed down, and Lily found herself clearing a table near the back of the restaurant. As she passed by the CEO's table, she couldn't help but notice that he was still sitting there, his phone pressed to his ear as he barked orders into it. She couldn't believe he had been occupying the same table for hours, without a single apology for his earlier behavior. Lily walked past him, making sure not to make eye contact. But just as she reached the kitchen door, she heard his voice again, this time calling her over. "Waitress," he snapped. Lily paused, her stomach sinking. She wasn't sure if she could handle another round of his rude attitude, but she turned around, forcing a polite smile onto her face. "Yes, sir? How can I assist you?" I need you to bring me the best bottle of wine you have, the man said, barely looking up from his phone. And make sure it's chilled. I don't want any delays this time. Lily's patience was running thin. I'll get that for you right away, she said through gritted teeth, turning to leave. But just as she was about to walk off, the front door of the restaurant swung open, and a man walked in. Another familiar face. It was the restaurant owner, Robert Finch. Robert was a well-known figure in the culinary world. His family owned Bella Bistro, and he was often in and out of the restaurant. But what made this particular moment unusual was that Robert wasn't just here to check in on the place. He was here with the CEO, Jonathan Parks. "Lily, there you are," Robert called out, his voice full of warmth. "I wanted you to meet Jonathan. He's the one I've been telling you about. He's the CEO of Parks Group." Lily froze, her mind racing. This man was Jonathan Parks, the same rude CEO who had been berating her earlier. But what happened next left her speechless. "Lily," Robert said, turning to Jonathan, "this is Lily. She's been a dedicated waitress here for years. And, Lily," he continued, "Jonathan is one of our biggest investors. He's been a great partner to us, and he's also been helping us expand the business." Jonathan, now fully engaged in the conversation, smiled at Lily. "Ah, Lily, yes," he said, his tone completely different from the one he had used earlier. "You've been doing a great job here, haven't you?" Lily's eyes widened as she processed the situation. This was the same man who had been demanding special treatment not too long ago. But now, he was treating her with unexpected politeness, as though everything had changed in an instant. "Excuse me, what did you just say?" Lily asked, still trying to wrap her head around it. Robert chuckled. "Jonathan has been investing in our company. In fact, he's been in talks with us to bring Bella Bistro to a much larger scale. And, Lily, we've decided that you're the perfect person to help lead that expansion." Lily's jaw dropped. "Wait, you want me to lead an expansion?" Jonathan looked at her, his eyes softening. "Yes. You've been a loyal and hardworking part of this team for so long, Lily. And now that we're making some big moves, we think it's time for you to step up. You're going to be a big part of the decision-making process from now on." Lily was still in shock. The rude man she had just stood up to was now unexpectedly offering her a partnership in the very company he had been berating her about. It didn't make sense. "Are you serious?" she finally managed to ask. Jonathan nodded, his usual arrogance now replaced by a rare sincerity. "I am. I see potential in you, Lily. You've got the experience, and I believe you're the one who can take this business to the next level." Over the next few weeks, everything changed for Lily. She was given an office at Bella Bistro's corporate headquarters and began meeting with Jonathan and Robert about the restaurant's expansion. The CEO, who had once treated her like an underling, was now asking for her input and trusting her judgment. Lily, who had always worked in the background, now found herself in a leadership position, helping to shape the future of Bella Bistro. But what surprised her most was how Jonathan treated her with newfound respect. The man who had once demanded special treatment was now working side by side with her, listening to her ideas and acknowledging her contributions. It was a surreal experience for Lily. She had gone from being a waitress at a small diner to becoming a key player in one of the biggest restaurant expansions in the city. But more than anything, she had learned an important lesson. Sometimes, the people who treat you poorly can also be the ones who help you rise to greater heights. And as Lily looked out of her office window, watching the future of Bella Bistro unfold before her eyes, she knew one thing for certain. This was just the beginning.